Hello and welcome back to another edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, where, as a special twist, we are not doing any kind of a, series or anything.
Wait, what?
No, it's just a straight-up episode.
I was lured here under false pretenses.
Yeah, we're not doing our Thanksgiving series.
Oh, thank God.
Of all those Thanksgiving movies.
We need a break. We went pretty hard during Halloween, and I think we need a few palate cleansing episodes.
There aren't that many Thanksgiving movies to do. There's I can think of 3 or 4, maybe. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Darby wanted to do that one. I was like, you're already doing this episode later on for Christmas, so no, we don't need any more holiday stuff. And plus, you and I, like I said, we went so hard during Halloween that we just had to reel back on some of the upcoming holiday movies. It got a little too real too quickly.
Yes. So tonight we are talking about a movie that is so 90s, it's hard to believe it was made in the 2000s.
It's deliciously 90s.
It really is. A movie that very nearly did not get made. One of the great animated Disney movies, The Emperor's New Groove.
Woo!
And I am Jason Mitchell, one of your hosts. I'm here with my co-host,
Darth Jader. Hey, listeners, hey.
They said hey back. I heard them.
Oh, good. Okay.
And guess what?
Do we have someone in the studio today for this special film?
I don't know. Let's look around.
Who is it? Anybody?
Is there anyone here who wants to do this?
Bueller?
She's not saying anything. Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, Katie's here.
She's back.
She is back. Yeah, that's all you get.
The super fan
I'll
is
take
defending. She's defending her title as super fan for most appearances.
Yeah, and it's getting pretty. The superfan battle is getting pretty.
It's turning
pretty
into a
heated.
dead heat. It's actually sparked Mr. Brown to listen to other episodes. Believe it or not.
Let's just clarify. Superfan is not contested, okay? Every episode, this chick right here.
That's true.
That is true. We
Host appearances, that's what's
Okay.
up for grabs.
She is dead serious
enough,
about this,
fair enough.
guys. She's got a knife to my throat right now.
Or a Starbucks.
Speaking of which, we're going to
Starbucks
settle
beer.
this with a UFC style fight.
Hell yes, we're selling tickets.
Between you and Adam.
Mr. Brown.
Yep, it's going to be a very interesting fight. We're going to do it. I guess we could do it in the out front of City Hall,
It'll have to be
maybe.
a square.
Absolutely.
We can't do it in an octagon.
We
That's
need
true.
half a
Yeah.
square.
Yeah.
No, we have to do it in the fountains
Put on
downtown.
the sunglasses.
No one leaves the octagon. Not alive, anyway.
2 men leave. No man exits, except for the winner, and then the other guy. But other than that, no one leaves.
Anyway,
And the
Crickets.
ref. The ref leaves.
anyhow.
Yeah. And the cleaning crew, they leave.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I just want to start talking about the party.
Oh, goodness. Well, I will apologize right out of the starting gate, listeners. We did promise to take pictures at our Hindsight is Horrifying guest star party. We couldn't really do that because we ended up staying out on the patio and it was a bit dark outside, so we couldn't get any good pictures, except for the one that I believe it was Mr. Brown snagged of you holding a precious little puppy
That's
dog
true,
who
that's
belongs
true.
to Katie's roommate,
Yes.
Carrie.
Aw.
Little Rosie.
Oh my God, that was the sweetest little puppy dog. How old was Rosie?
She was not even 10 weeks old.
Oh my God.
She was the star of the show for sure that evening.
Oh yeah. She's definitely one of those dogs that when she shows up at a party, the hosts of the party are immediately like, "Damn it, no one's gonna pay attention to us the whole night."
Oh yeah, we have Friendsgiving coming up, and I'm like, nope, doesn't even matter. Nothing matters.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we
It's
should
gonna
get
be
Rosie to
Rosie.
star on the podcast.
That'd be great.
You'll get 10 minutes of really big energy, and then a 30-minute nap.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
dog was passed the hell out by the time the party was over because everybody wanted to talk to her and pet her. Like, she was just, like I said, she was the belle of the ball.
Sorry, I am restraining myself from making jokes.
I'm trying
I'm
to talk about the wholesome aspects
It
of
was
the party.
really fun to get to see everybody that I get to listen to.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
There you go.
You know, I've met Mr. Brown, obviously.
Mhm.
I know you guys, but to meet the other Adam, young Adam,
Yes, young
and
Adam.
and Meg and Marie.
Yes. Yeah, it was
great.
it was a treat, and of course we were very happy to have the party at our good friends Variant Brewing.
Yes, one of
Yum.
our favorite places to hang out and drink
Fantastic
delicious beer.
Such good beer.
Somebody's always supposed to take away my credit card when I go
Yeah.
to breweries and
Yeah.
wineries. I
The
went back
bartenders
as
do
soon as
so that they can start a
as soon
tab.
as we were
Yeah, I was
done.
about to say, yeah, that's what the
as soon as
bartenders do.
As soon as we were done, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna buy a T-shirt, and I did. and I love it. And then I gave them a cookie because I had leftover cookies, and I got a sticker.
Yeah, they were excited to see a bunch of the guests show up because when I go in to get our crowlers at Variant, our friends Michael and Patrick and all those awesome guys that bartend there, Bridget, they're always like, "What episode are we doing this week?" And they were excited that we brought the podcasters with us. So it was a fun party.
And it was a fascinating evening. It was full of fascinating conversation.
Educational conversations.
Educational conversation.
A little bit of sexual harassment. All sorts of stuff.
I thought it was a conversation about small home appliances.
Is that what we're calling it?
I mean, yeah. I think technically it is a small home appliance.
Is it technically getting flashed if the image is on a phone? Let me ask you. I was not expecting that at all.
No, I don't think anyone was.
I should have been.
We got a very cute puppy dog, and we got pictures of
wall-mounted appliances.
Marital aids.
Katie supplied the puppy. I don't know. I do not know what else happened.
Yes, let's make it very clear. Katie had nothing to do with that.
I drank beer. I ate food. I played with the dog.
But it was a very good time. We're going to do this again.
Absolutely.
Hopefully soon, because it was a lot of fun. And I think we should put on social media. We should see if any fans actually want to come out and hang out with us.
Absolutely.
I like that idea.
Or like the Hangouts thing that you're doing with our podcast where we're meeting fellow podcasters.
Yep.
That'd be fun to see who wants to come and hang with us.
Yeah. We will have security there, so,
It'll be Rosie.
Yes, Josh. She'll lick you to death.
She's awe-inspiring.
No, Josh will be there, trolls. So mind your manners.
So anyway.
That was too cheesy.
Yeah.
I love it.
I stole that from somebody. I know I stole that from someone. I'm
Probably
not
Jeremy Clarkson.
No, own it. Just own it.
All right.
It's an original.
So speaking of originals, see the seg?
That was
a nice segue
that wasn't
there.
a stretch at all.
We are, of course, talking about The Emperor's New Groove,
Yes.
which has nothing to do with Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, as far as I know.
Thank God.
Yes. And I said before, it's so 90s, it's hard to believe that it was made in the 2000s.
Yes, the animation is super 90s, but very
David,
well done.
David Spade, Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, the people in it, Eartha Kitt.
Well, Eartha Kitt is timeless.
She is timeless,
Yeah.
but we're also talking about like
Wendy
Bob
Malick.
Bergen. Yeah.
Wendy Malick doesn't have a huge role in it, but she is in it.
No, yeah, she is in it.
John Goodman.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's other people in it.
Absolutely.
But it's a movie that very nearly didn't get made, or very nearly didn't get finished.
Well, the entire concept completely changed because it was originally supposed to be kind of based on Prince and the Pauper. And it was going to be a story of how the emperor found his doppelganger and just sort of swapped roles with him just for fun. But then when Yzma, who was originally supposed to be kind of more of a witch doctor type character as opposed to a mad scientist, when Yzma finds out about this swap, she blackmails the Prince and the Pauper into staying in their roles so she can take over or something like that.
Yeah.
And who was it? Peter Ellers, who did The Lion King. He was originally at the helm of the project, and it was supposed to be this really epic, like next Lion King level story.
Yeah, it was like the Sun God or something like it.
It was called.
It had a dramatic name, and he did he did The Lion King, but people don't remember The Lion King was also a huge fiasco.
Yes,
that was a huge mess.
It was called Kingdom of the Sun.
Kingdom of the Sun.
That was the original title. But Ellers actually quit the entire project, and that just didn't work out. But same thing, Disney was really trying to make some changes and guarantee some box office success because following Hunchback of Notre Dame and Pocahontas, despite how amazingly iconic those movies are to some, I know Hunchback maybe.
Hunchback's fantastic.
No, it is fantastic. Yeah. I don't know that it's the more iconic.
It's not at all. It's the movie that Disney has completely forgotten about.
Just shuffled under the rug. Yeah.
More than this.
Yeah, because they made sequels to this.
They did.
I don't think they made sequels to Hunchback.
I'd have to look that up.
I don't know if they did or not, but there was a TV show.
Yeah, there was an Emperor's New Groove TV show.
Emperor's New Groove TV show.
And a straight-to-video.
Kronk's
New Groove.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Well,
trying to focus on Patrick Warburton too hard, kind of like Joey.
How old were you two when you saw this movie for the first time?
I believe we were celebrating a friend's 13th birthday. So
we were 12.
Yes, we would have been 12.
I was 40. I actually saw this movie for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And
Math is hard.
well, yeah. Meth. That's
That's
easy.
a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Oh, you said math. Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. No, this was a movie that, and you know, as I've said repeatedly on the show, you know, my family's a very, very Disney family.
Yes.
And
Well, that's why I was surprised when we started doing this podcast and you told me that you had no interest in doing The Emperor's New Groove originally.
well, because the reputation of this movie is that it's terrible and that Disney. No, it's got a terrible reputation, especially among like hardcore Disney people.
Why?
It's right in there with Treasure Planet.
See, I haven't seen Treasure Planet, so
And they're
I did.
they're remaking it. They're doing a live action.
You were
Treasure
telling me
Planet.
about that.
Yeah, you guys said it
Yeah.
on the podcast before
Yeah.
because I had to go look it up.
It's like, why would you? But
why are you
know,
remaking something that just
They can't ruin it. That's my
That's what
only
you said.
thinking.
That's
yeah,
what you said. Yeah.
It's
But-
funny how their stats work out like that because the reason why they made so many changes to The Emperor's New Groove from the original version is, like I said, they wanted to goose its success in the box office, but that was following like Pocahontas and Hunchback completely bombing in the box office,
Yeah.
which is amazing to me because I don't look at Disney as like, oh, anything less than a smash hit success. Like, I know there are some movies that just don't fly in the Disney kingdom, but for the most part, when you think about these animated like post-Renaissance movies, you feel like they're all wildly successful, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not all. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, you know, Disney had come off of that glorious golden era,
Yes.
you know, with Little Mermaid and Lion King and all these other
Beauty and the
movies.
Beast.
And
Yeah.
it's hard to keep that going, you know, and you know, so it makes sense. Okay, well, yes, Lion King was a big fiasco, but let's get the same director to do another movie because he did make a movie that was a big success. And what they had, like Sting was,
Yes, Sting did 6 songs for The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
And he was originally going to sing the opening number called Perfect World, but they actually got Tom Jones to
Yeah.
do that because he had a younger sounding voice.
yeah, which is funny because Tom Jones is so much older than Sting.
Yeah, that's funny to me. But like, and Sting actually had a big part in how Emperor's New Groove ends because originally Cusco was going to build his little Cusco-topia by destroying some rainforest in the Incan, jungle.
Yeah.
And Sting wrote a letter to the executives basically saying, if you do that as the ending, I will resign from this project because that's against my beliefs, and I've spent most of my adult life protecting indigenous peoples and their lands and stuff.
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
like, whoa.
Shut up, Gordon.
He had a lot of influence, apparently.
You know, yeah. Well, and I think it did actually make it just a more.
He was the police.
It was a friendlier. It was a friendlier ending. You know.
Yeah.
Having the small little. You know.
the little cottage,
Yeah.
and then he's got a Cusco-topia birdhouse instead. So
Yeah.
that was cute. It was a much more wholesome ending.
Yeah, I do think Eartha Kitt kind of steals the show. in
Oh,
this movie.
absolutely.
She's so good in this movie.
And like with David Spade, that's in certain aspects that's kind of hard to do because he's a pretty larger than life character in this movie.
He has to be. He's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, poor David Spade,
And he's acting with, you know, John Goodman and Patrick Warburton.
who are just
who-
big old guys. Yeah.
Literally.
But whenever we, so I had never wanted to watch it because I always heard the reputation, even though I know better. You know, so many movies I've heard have been terrible. Movies I like, I know people think they're terrible. So it was just like, we're out of Disney movies. Let's watch this. I think at the time it was on Netflix.
Yep.
And we watched it, and we were all just gobsmacked
Yep.
by how enjoyable the movie was. It was
So fantastic.
genuinely very funny. The script, the jokes are really, really good. They're not like shackled to Disney humor.
No.
You know, they're doing really good humor.
Well, that's why when I originally saw this movie with Katie when we were younger, I was under the impression that it wasn't a Disney movie because it has that sort of irreverent, silly humor that's not typical of a Disney cartoon.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm totally with you on that, especially with, and this is what's killer to me is that you just said David Spade versus like Patrick Warburton and John Goodman. David Spade and Patrick Warburton never saw each other
Right,
during
yeah.
this, and neither did Eartha Kitt or Patrick Warburton. They were never in
Really?
the same room together. No.
That's amazing. The wonders of voice acting.
I know, because
know?
I think we discussed this on Shrek because we were like, oh, Eddie Murphy and Mike Myers had to have been in the studio together at least part of the time because the chemistry is just so great between their characters.
What animated movie did we do with Matthew Broderick?
Animated movie?
Didn't we do an animated movie with?
We did Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, yeah, no, I know that. Or it might have been, maybe it was something I saw recently, because it was the same sort of thing where Matthew Broderick is in a movie and he has a co-star and they don't see each other the entire time.
Right.
You know, this movie, I think what makes it work, because I mean, David Spade is David Spade. You know,
That's true.
You either like David Spade or you don't.
Yeah, he's a little polarizing, but let's to give some edification, since this did come out in 2000, there might be some people like you, Jason, who haven't seen it, or
probably a lot.
Yeah, there might be. This movie, the basic premise, it changed from The Prince and the Pauper, like I said. So the basic premise of it is that Kuzco is this very douchey emperor of the Incan Empire. He's 17 years old. He's a complete brat. And the concept is that for his 18th birthday, he wants to build a little water park with a pool for himself on top of a village that he would have to destroy and, you know, make all these people homeless just so he could have a fancy pool.
He doesn't care. You know,
well, he likes the hilltop, and he summons Pacha, John Goodman's character, to the castle to basically ask him, "Hey, you live on top of this hilltop, right? Where do you think you get the best sun?" And Pacha's just
Which is so stupid. Probably the side where the sun comes up in the morning. I mean,
know.
it's like it's a hill.
What?
It's not really complicated, dude.
Kids aren't really thinking about that though. But Pacha's like, "Oh yeah, when the sun hits at this angle, these hills sing."
Real quick though. The song that Patrick Warburton sings when he's carrying the llama out to dispose of him. Patrick Warburton hummed that, or he sang it.
He made it up himself.
He came up with it all on his own.
Sure did.
And Disney's legal department made him sign over the rights to the song. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Warburton is he's the writer of this song.
And to me, that is one of the funniest bits in the entire movie.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
So let me finish the synopsis really quick. So Kuzco's a terrible emperor. He doesn't care for his people, and neither does his advisor, Yzma, who's this kind of mad scientist character, and she's got a brainless henchman, Kronk. So Kuzco fires her for trying to run the country behind his back. And so she conspires to kill him so she can take over because he doesn't have an heir to the throne. Yeah. And so what happens is they accidentally turn Kuzco into a llama, and the sticker on the little vial that they were supposed to poison him with, it looks like a skull, but then when it looks like the label flipped over, so they flip it up, and she's like, "This isn't poison. This is extract of llama," which, you know, who doesn't have that in their kitchen?
Or if you're Canadian, llama.
Llama. Yeah. I think the Bare Naked Ladies sing about a llama.
Go straight to hell.
Love you. So yeah, when Patrick...
The Halloweentown of musicians. There, I said it. Go ahead, defend him.
I just meant something very mean to Jason.
Where's the Nickelback and where's the...
Oh.
Like Creed?
Don't you dare, Jason Mitchell.
Worse than
Don't you
Nickelback.
dare.
Or Creed.
Well, yeah, Creed. Yeah, they're pretty incredibly
Don't
awful.
you dare.
See, there you go.
I mean, okay, maybe Creed is the Halloweentown of movies.
Music?
Halloweentown.
You mean music?
Yeah,
Not
whatever.
So anyway, Kronk is sent to dispose of Kuzco's body once he has been transformed into a llama, but his conscience gets the
he's a
better
good
of
guy.
him.
He's a
Yes,
good
Kronk
guy.
is a sweetheart. Absolutely.
He likes the squirrel.
Yes.
He was my favorite character in the whole movie.
And that's Bob
surprised.
Bergen.
Yeah, I love... What?
That's the famous voice actor, Bob Bergen. He's been...
Oh, he's the squirrel?
Yeah, he's the squirrel.
Well, I know, what's his name? Piglet.
Piglet is the old man that gets chucked off or out the window for throwing off the Emperor's groove. Yeah. He's literally just walking around in
Where's
Kuzco.
the groove?
And when Pacha shows up to talk to the Emperor, he sees the Piglet old man like tied up in a little tapestry, and he's like, "Oh, here, let me help you down." He's just he's a good character, John Goodman's character.
Hold on, now that we talked about that part, there was one part that I got this time that I never got when I was a kid, is that he goes, his groove, he goes, yeah, his routine. And I was like, huh.
His pattern of behavior.
He's always dancing. And and so I was like, oh, his groove, like, because he messed him up when he was doing his little moonwalk. And so now I learned. I was like, huh. I mean, I guess it's true. It goes either way.
The rhythm with which he lives his life. Beware of the groove.
Anyway, synopsis continue.
But yeah, no. That's basically it. So Yzma conspires to kill Kuzco, but now he's a llama. When Kronk goes to dispose of his body, like I said, He has his little angel devil and his angel, or excuse me, shoulder angel and devil, who are sitting there arguing. And one of them, I think his argument is he does a one-handed handstand, and Kronk's like, "What does that have to do with this situation?" And the angel's like, "No. He's got a point. That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
They were great characters.
I think this was Patrick Warburton's first voice acting gig.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd have to look into that.
And he, of course, went on to do a lot of really good voice acting work.
He's Joe on Family Guy.
Yeah, he's Joe on Family Guy. He's Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers, though, and
I've never watched Venture Brothers.
Yeah, Venture Brothers is fantastic. That is a show that it's available somewhere, like the whole thing. I think it's on Hulu.
Well, and
that is definitely one to sit and just start at the beginning and just enjoy yourselves.
So now we're at the part where we meet Potch's wife, and this is, and I guess I didn't
Wendy
remember.
Malick.
Yeah, no, and so I was thinking, I was like, these are
Chicha.
such great actors, the people in real life, from when I grew up or when we grew up, Just Shoot Me with David Spade.
Yeah,
and,
they were on that show together.
And Nina, that's all I can remember. Her name was Nina.
Laura San Giacomo.
Okay.
That was
No, the voice of the wife.
no, on Just Shoot Me, it was the three. It was David Spade, Laura San Giacomo, and Wendy Malick.
Yes. And then John Goodman from
Roseanne.
Roseanne. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get off of Patrick Warburton, apparently, because he does do a lot of voice acting.
Get off.
And
Come on.
That's what they were shouting in Shivers.
Dean.
No, but apparently Patrick Warburton's parents think that he's going to hell.
Because of this?
No, not
It's like, jeez.
no, not for portraying Kronk at the Emerald City Comic Con. Warburton shared with the crowd, "My parents actually do believe that my soul is in peril and that I'm really going to hell for being in Family Guy."
Really?
That's what he said.
Yeah, but to be fair, they think that because they just think Family Guy's gotten lazy.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's why the rest of us think
Dang.
that.
Come on, man.
But yeah, so Pacha's come back to his wife and children, and it's a long walk to the castle.
Baby Jesus is out of the manger. What? Sorry, that's a Venture Brothers show.
I've heard you make that joke before, though. In a much different context, but
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think that was Mr. Bamfield's episode of
I think-
Memory
I think so, yeah.
Serves when y'all were talking about carnival games in bathrooms. But anyway,
I have an interesting story about
God.
because the name, the emperor's name,
Cusco.
It's a city.
Yes.
And I worked for many years ago. This is my story about how I almost murdered a judge. I almost brought about his death.
Why?
We really got to videotape these because the faces are just, we're missing. There's something.
Do you
missing.
really want this to be recorded?
No, he
Yes.
he knows the story. He knows it. I had I interned for a judge years ago, and one day the assistant in the office said something about, the judge is going to South America, and I said, you're going on a vacation. And as soon as I said the word vacation, everyone in the office stopped and stared at me like I had done something really, really bad. And of course, when you're interning,
You don't want to commit a faux pas.
you don't want to do that. And the judge looks and he says, "I can't believe, did nobody tell him not to use that word?" And there was apparently in the office, there was a standing order never to use the word vacation.
Why on earth?
Because every time he had gone on a vacation, a horrible disaster had befallen him. He went on vacation once and they rented a boat and the boat sank. He went on a vacation once to like a cabin somewhere, which burned down.
So you
Are
essentially,
you sure this is not like a TV show that you're
No,
just like
I
thinking is
swear
your
to
life?
God.
Because this sounds like something.
No,
you essentially cursed his trip.
Well, and I was like, sorry, I won't say the word
You
again. I won't
jinxed
say
it.
the word again. And he goes on vacation to South America, and he's going to Cusco, and they're going to go to Machu Picchu and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to go see the Nazca lines. And
all that in Peru, right?
Yeah, and so he goes on vacation, and I'm surfing the internet one day, like 3 days into his vacation, and there's a news article about a plane crash over the Nazca
Shut
lines,
up.
killing all of the tourists who were on board. And I'm like, oh my God, I killed the judge. I did it. I killed him. And I'm like, I'm looking for the names of the tourists on board. And I finally find it in one of the articles where it says all the tourists were British. So I'm like, okay, this must not have been my fault. Because,
man.
and the day comes when he gets back in from his trip.
He probably saw the same story.
No, he walks in and he's got that photograph printed out and he puts it on my desk.
This is why you don't say that word.
No, and he says, you came this close to killing. And I'm like, but it wasn't you. It was a different plane. And he goes, no, we were booked. Our tour group was booked to go fly over the Nazca lines.
Get out.
They double booked them, and literally the other tourists were there, and they were like, "Oh, well, we have a schedule. We have to." And they're like, "Well, we have a schedule too. What should we do?"
My heart is racing.
And somebody literally said, "Well, let's just flip a coin." And they flipped a coin. The judge and his family lost. So they didn't get to go on the plane.
Oh my God, Jason.
The goddamn plane crashed and
They
killed
lost
everybody.
or they won.
Right.
They won.
Yep.
They won
And
big time.
Your heart is racing because
Yeah.
you had coffee.
Oh, no, that's just part of it. This
And of
story
course,
is wigging me out.
he also, on the same trip, his wife got like horrible food poisoning. And apparently that is something you don't want to get in South America.
So that was your fault.
Yeah, and well, he blamed me for that one too. They ended up at a hospital. This is the last part of it. They ended up at a hospital, and the the judge is talking to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Well, she can go. She's well enough now to leave." And he's like, "Okay, well, I've got my insurance company in the loop. They know what's going on. Like just send me a bill. I'll pay it. Then they'll reimburse us." And the doctor's like, "No. You need to pay.
Yeah.
You need to pay now."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, I don't have however many thousands of dollars you guys are
Just
trying to
on
charge me
me,
just
yeah.
on me. But fine. Get me to an ATM. I'll get the money, or no, I'll go to an ATM. I'll get the money. I'll come back and I'll give it to you. I'll max out my daily thing and I'll pay you guys off." And the doctor says, "Okay, well, I'll have somebody bring you over to the ATM because it's kind of far from here." And he's like, fine. So he goes downstairs and there's a guy there like, "Okay, here, we've got your ride over here." There's an ambulance waiting for him. They put him in an no, I'm not. This is totally true. They put him in an ambulance, turn the lights and the sirens on to get him to an ATM. To get the money to pay.
God.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there if that's the moral of that story.
Oh, okay. There was a point
Yeah.
to that. Okay. Oh,
Sorry.
here he goes. Here's your squirrel friend, Jason.
He's the
Aubrey.
best. And this teaches kids an important lesson.
Well, and here's something that I didn't really pay attention
Very
to.
Beauty and the Beast. That's what it reminded me of.
Why?
Well, because he's being rude to somebody. Like the prince was rude to the witch, and it ends up biting him in the ass.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you now. That took me a second to.
Lesson learned.
There you go. Don't be rude to others.
I love. The squirrel's great.
Oh, he's one of the best players in this.
He's like a
entire movie.
Warner Brothers squirrel.
Well, it's what ends up happening. So Patrick Warburton, Kronk, screws up and he's trying to figure out what to do with Kuzco's body, and he falls down the stairs, and Kuzco bounces onto Pacha's cart. So he winds up with Pacha. Then he assumes that since he gave Pacha bad news about destroying his village, he assumes that
blames it on
Pacha
Pacha.
turned him. Yeah, he blames everything on Pacha, saying, "Oh, you turned me into a llama and kidnapped me."
Yeah.
So now he's walking through the woods, and Pacha at first refuses to take him back, but then Kuzco's like, "Fine, I'll just go on my own." He goes, "I wouldn't go into the jungle. There's jaguars and snakes and all
It's the
sorts of
cutest
stuff."
part right there with the little
Aw,
kitten.
the little
Carrie
kitten,
watched
yeah.
this with me.
We're just
We
into
both
baby
go,
animals
"Aw."
this episode.
Everybody,
Who's
come
not
on,
into
yeah.
baby animals?
No, we're talking about them a lot on this particular
yeah.
episode
Yeah.
because they deserve it. They deserve that billing.
We're talking. We've discussed baby animals and marital aids.
Well,
that's where we're at.
And
Like you
murder.
Yeah, attempted.
Wait, attempted? You
Well,
weren't attempting
That
it.
sounds premeditated.
Jinxed possible
Well,
murder? I don't know. We
yeah.
have to think up a new term for it.
Voodoo murder. I don't know.
There you go. But
God, I can't believe that.
he's not superstitious. He is a little stitious. For my Office fans out there. But yeah, so like you said, Katie, Kuzco happens upon this squirrel who's trying to be sweet to him and gives him a little acorn and just flings it back at the squirrel and hits him in the head with it. So the squirrel blows up a little balloon animal in the shape of a llama and pops it so that the jaguars surrounding them will wake up and chase Kuzco through the jungle.
Yeah, and let's be clear. David Spade's character in this movie is a complete dick.
Oh big
yeah.
time.
I mean,
He's a tool.
He takes every opportunity to be a dick.
to be rude,
everyone.
to belittle everyone and make sure that they understand that the world revolves around him.
It almost goes too far with him right before they fall off the bridge.
Yeah.
In the end, it's like
Oh, because he leaves Pacha to die.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's very Lion King. Long live the king, and he's gonna let him fall off the edge. But this is a great iconic moment because they're about to go. Pacha, he just proves time and time again what a good-hearted character he is because he saves Cusco like 17 times from different sources of danger and fulfills his word when he shouldn't have to. Like, he never goes back on his promises. But Pacha saves him from the jaguars, and they wind up raging down a river. And this is one of my favorite lines when Pacha's like, uh-oh. He goes, what? Let me guess. We're about to go over a huge waterfall. Yep. Sharp rocks at the bottom? Most likely. Bring it on. And then he yells booyah when they go over the edge.
He yells booyah all the time.
That's like his catchphrase in this movie. Yep.
Well, that was a common Mayan expression. I think.
Booyah!
That was used. That was actually written right after the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012 when it said
fun
booyah.
fact.
Yeah.
You learn something new with us every day, hindsighters. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah, Pacha even does a CPR on Cusco when
attempted CPR.
Attempted, yes.
Okay. But yeah, he brings him back to life when Cusco almost drowns. And
Come on. John Goodman's character. He lives up on a mountain. You think it's the first time he's had his lips on a llama?
probably not. I mean, he's got a really pretty wife, so hopefully not that often.
True.
Like,
True.
She's like so stressed out. I'm gonna go watch something.
Yeah, that's a very mom thing to say. But yeah, because she's mad that because Pacha lies to her. He doesn't want to give her the bad news that the emperor's planning on tearing down their village and leaving everyone homeless. So he's like, oh, well, I don't know. He was just kind of busy and couldn't see me. And she's like, couldn't see you? That's just rude. I feel like marching back there myself.
Right,
And in my research, first of all, I had thought, I was like, it's nice to have a Disney movie where there are both sets of parents. Neither of them is dead.
Yes, neither one has been horribly
exciting.
murdered. Yeah.
And the mom is not a wilting daisy at all. She's take charge and she's pregnant and she's not to be messed with.
But you have to admit, though, if the movie was about Pacha's kids, one of them would have died in the beginning.
Probably.
That movie definitely would have bombed because they're the worst part of this movie.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah, they're incredibly annoying. I agree with you
Look,
there.
Dad, I lost a tooth.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like kids in movies, they're hit and miss, and usually it's miss.
Well, the kids too. I made this note specifically for you, Jason, because you flash back to Pacha's house for a little while. The kids are asleep, and his son jumps out of bed because he's having a nightmare. He's like, "Oh, Dad, watch out!" And he's like, "Oh, I was dreaming that Dad was being chased by jaguars, and he was careening down a raging river of death." And the sister's like, "Oh, well, I had a dream where Dad had to kiss a llama." And I'm like, they're dreaming of exactly what's happening to them. So does that make them supernatural beings?
Oh, absolutely. No, I thought that went without saying. They both dreamed. They've got the shinning. Both of them do.
They've got the shinning.
Don't you mean the shunning? No, I don't.
I mean the shinning.
It's a Simpsons joke. Sorry, it's an old.
I was running with it.
Very old Treehouse of Terror.
Thank you for explaining it to us. But yeah, so here's another example of Pacha just being an all-around good guy because even after saving Cusco, it's like you said, Jason, Cusco is consistently a douchebag throughout this entire story. So Pacha saves Cusco from the jaguars, even though it was a little bit clumsy and they wound up going over a waterfall. But Cusco's still like, yeah, screw you. I'm still building my pool house there. Like, that's what we're doing. We're destroying your village. And Pacha's like, come on, man. I just saved your life.
Yeah. Well, that's his whole argument throughout the movie is, come on.
I just saved your life multiple times.
Come on, man.
But Katie, you were saying something interesting before we got on the microphone tonight. I know we saw this when we were kids and we really loved it. So you were saying how this movie, you don't have the same perspective on this movie that you used to.
Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, I definitely watched this last night. I watched it with Carrie, my roommate, who adored this movie. She thought it was adorable. She thought it was funny. And it just, I remember it being so funny when we were 12 years old. And I don't know if it's the memory of the movie, because again, I watched it with my best friends at the time, you, Michael, Jono, probably some other people in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think there was definitely the four of us.
You
but
can't
either
go
way.
back.
No.
You can't go back.
And then also, I mean, because Jade always knows how to make me laugh. And she, in middle school would always repeat movie lines, and this was one of
No.
them.
No,
This was one of
definitely
them.
not.
Oh yeah.
Shocking.
I've never been accused of that.
Yeah, and
ever.
this was one of them, and it always cracked me up.
Well, I in particular remember you and me like just cracking up in the theater toward the end when Yzma gets transformed into a cat.
Yeah, okay, that still cracked me up last night.
Because Eartha Kitt has this very distinct voice, and her scream is
it's
so unique.
Yeah. Well, she's
And-
Catwoman.
Well, and she's
Yeah.
no, that's why they made her into
Yeah.
a cat in this. There was an allusion to her being
my
Catwoman in the
voice?
60s.
You see,
Is that my voice?
I remember mainly the diner scene. I love
Oh, the diner
when
scene's
Kronk is in the
magnificent.
kitchen. I love that,
He's using all the diner speak
Yeah.
and eggs me no likey or like cheese me no likey.
No, but you are right though. I mean, like, especially a movie that you saw as a kid and you laughed your ass off. I mean, look, we did Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yes.
And it was kind of miserable.
Yes, I watched it after listening
We
to it,
love
and I
you,
was like, I
Jeremy.
cannot believe I just spent money on watching
Right.
this movie.
But
This one's better than
Yeah.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
But when I was a kid, Ernest Scared Stupid
Was hysterical.
I remember it being really funny. And that's sort of like my favorite of the Ernest movies, Ernest Goes to Camp. I don't want to do that on this show.
I see.
Because
Don't ruin it.
Ernest
Yeah,
Saves
ruin it.
Christmas.
Ruin it.
That was
Yeah.
my favorite.
But no, when you watched it with your roommate, had she seen it before?
No, she'd never seen it before.
See, that's interesting because I find that the only way of getting the magic back and laughing at something like MST3K, I've seen them so many times, I don't laugh at them anymore. I just enjoy them.
Right.
But if I watch it with somebody who hasn't seen it before,
It's a whole different ballgame.
suddenly it becomes funnier again, and I find myself actually laughing.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, because I watched this again today to refresh myself on it, but I watched it, most of it last night. But when Yzma started screaming and she was falling off that building, I was losing my mind laughing.
As the
'cause-
cat?
Yeah, as the
Yeah,
cat.
yeah,
because
that
she's
was
like,
the best part.
"Ah!" And like it keeps cutting back to her, and she's just screaming for like 30 solid seconds. And then her laugh, her little evil laugh, where she's like, like when she springs back up off the train.
well, there's just something about hearing somebody really enjoying playing a part.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's the best thing in the world when you see an actor who's just they love it. They're enjoying the hell out of this.
Oh yeah, and what kills me is that Barbara Streisand was originally supposed to be Yzma. Yeah, back when it was going to be the new Lion King, but I cannot.
No.
We say this a lot where it's like, oh, but so and so is so iconic in that role. I literally cannot imagine anybody
it
but
has to be-
Eartha
yeah,
Kitt
it
as
has to be
Yzma.
Eartha
It's
Kitt, yeah.
it's perfect for
Who
her.
was also in Ernest Scared Stupid?
Yes, she was.
Just
It's the second Eartha Kitt movie
the
we've
best
done.
thing in the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Literally, and she's in it for all of 2 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes
nothing.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, she plays a much larger role in this movie.
But yeah, and it is sort of a buddy movie, which is so weird to hear that she and Patrick Warburton weren't on set. You're saying that
Yeah, they never recorded
that's
together.
So weird because I mean they have such great chemistry.
Yeah, he never saw David Spade either.
Why do we even have that lever?
Why do we even have that level?
It's the best joke in the movie.
But at Salt Lake Comic Con, Warburton, he did tell the audience, yeah, Eartha Kitt and I never worked together in the studio. They would record us individually.
That's so weird.
They actually were in a movie 20 years prior to that. They were in a movie together.
Really?
So, yeah, he's actually met her. He said, prior to Emperor's New Groove, I've done a movie with Eartha Kitt in South Africa, and this was one of the most horrible films ever made in the history of mankind. It's called Dragonard.
Dragonard?
Dragonard.
Oh man, I gotta find that movie.
Of course you do.
Holy shit, that
But he's
sounds
like-
so terrible.
Yeah, he said, I do remember one thing about Eartha. She could be 100 feet behind you, and you knew that she was there because she ate raw garlic every day.
Because she's Eartha Kitt.
She does
Well, what
whatever the hell
shit
she
does
wants.
she care? What do you
Yeah.
got a problem? Take it up with Batman.
Seriously.
I was amazed at that Batman didn't come up before then.
Yeah, there you go.
He comes up in some way, shape, or form all the time. Oh, but here we go. Here's the ultimate dick move, like you were saying, Jason. That
Yeah.
So Pacha brings Cusco to the bridge, where from there it's just an hour to the castle, and you can see it. So Cusco can get back on his own. And Pacha falls through the bridge, and he's dangling by some vines. And Cusco is like, I was just going to have you in prison for... And this is after he's lied to Pacha
yeah.
and told him, hey, And Pacha covers him with his little shawl so he doesn't freeze overnight. He's just so sweet to him. And Cusco's like, yeah, I was going to have you thrown in prison for the rest of your life, but I like this better. And then he falls through the bridge.
Yeah.
So now they're just dangling from ropes or vines, just fighting each
Yeah.
other, dangling. Now I feel bad.
It's so David Spade. It's
this
so David Spade.
this character was perfect for David Spade. I didn't like when I was doing my research. I didn't even really see that there were other comedians considered.
Well, the weird thing is that David Spade was going to be the same character even when it was a serious movie. It was still David Spade.
Really?
He was cast in it as, when it was Kingdom of the Sun or whatever.
So it still would have been this movie because you can't.
Well, yeah, it's like, what were they going to do? Get David Spade to play a straight part? I mean,
I'm not sure that he can.
I don't know that I could ever take David Spade seriously in something that wasn't comedic. In fact, and I was actually curious, do either of you know, what was the last time David Spade did something that...
Was it Rules of Engagement?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm thinking so. With Patrick
There we
Warburton.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Dude,
I gotta look up.
come
Yeah, because
on.
I did love him on Just Shoot Me. I always thought that show was funny.
It was a good show.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good show. That's one of those 90s shows that totally gets...
Just looked over.
It's looked over, yeah. No one ever remembers Just Shoot Me, but it was on for a while.
Yeah, it was on for
You
a
know.
good minute.
And oh God, what was the name? The boss was the dad, the granddad.
He's the grandfather on the Goldbergs.
On the Goldbergs, yeah.
I don't watch the Goldbergs, so I don't know.
It's a great show. Well, I can vouch for the first like 5 seasons. I didn't see anything past that. You know, I was too busy doing this stupid show.
Oh, but Jason,
Yeah, Rules of Engagement and Grown Ups.
All right.
Grown Ups 2 was like the last.
so
major
basically
thing.
Adam Sandler has kept David Spade with a roof over his head for the last...
Rules of Engagement.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing. But so Jason, you see that Cusco and Pacha actually came up with Tina's trust
Yes.
walk in the
Yes.
canyon when they're lacing arms and they're trying to crawl or like hike or whatever you want to call that. Back.
Fluffy butt.
Fluffy butt. Did that bird just say fluffy butt? But well, and it's cool because this little, what would you call it? A trust climb? I don't,
Yeah.
Whatever. And
It's a very Matt team
a steeple
exercise.
climb.
so is, oh God, we've done ropes courses and stuff like that when we were in middle school. I'd forgotten about those. Thank you for scarring me with that. But
Scarring you. You're
being 30 feet off the
fine.
ground, it was great.
But you're fine.
Yeah, I lived. But did you die?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you?
So,
That which doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, except for all of those horrible, debilitating conditions that make you much weaker. That's a stupid saying.
We have a
makes
very
you
cartoon
strange,
moment
I'm
now
saying.
with the bats.
Yeah.
Philip in his mouth, and then he magically can climb the bats to get up
Yeah.
to safety.
yeah. Well, they weren't getting up there by any logical means, so Cusco does sort of ninja flip them up in the air. But then he has a kind of redeeming moment where
Yeah.
the ground starts to crumble when they're back up on top of the canyon and Pacha's about to fall to his death, but Cusco saves
Look at
him.
my bad
Yeah.
self. Yeah, definitely 90s.
I
Yeah.
snatched you right out of the air. And his little like moonwalk where he's like,
Nah, not today.
He's just sitting there being David Spade as
Yeah,
a llama.
he's just being David Spade.
It's great.
You have to wonder too, like for the when they were actually making this, for any of the scenes where they weren't together, did they have like another comedian in there reading the other person's lines?
I didn't see specifically who was reading the lines to them.
Because I don't know how you would even do that. You know, how do you when the whole point of it is the chemistry between the characters? How do you get that chemistry without having the characters in the same room?
That just makes
You
you
know?
an even better actor, I guess, if you
I
don't have
guess.
somebody. Because, like, I know you love it when I bring it back to The Office, but that's why Phyllis wound up being a character. She was actually originally just the person who reads lines to the actors in their auditions. But she worked off of the actors like John Krasinski and Pam and all those characters so well that they were like, "Hey, we're writing her into the show."
That's
she
cool.
she just brings a certain energy to it.
That's
So-
organic TV. I like that stuff.
So, I mean, I guess the people that they hire to do the scripts, they don't have to be famous comedians or anything like that with
Yeah.
the same energy level. They just have to, but they have their own set of talent. They're
Yeah.
not necessarily acting, but they are bringing that energy out of the actual actor who's recording, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, and it is worth mentioning where Disney went after this movie, though, because it wasn't a financial success.
Right.
You know, I mean, did it? I don't remember seeing the numbers. I don't know if it was a flat out, failure.
Paging Dr. Google.
But I suspect it was. And then they follow it up with some very odd choices. Not, Treasure Planet being the one that jumps into my mind. It was a weird, very Michael Eisner-y time for the Walt Disney Corporation, But and the squirrel's back. The best character in the whole movie.
Yeah, Emperor's New Groove did perform disappointingly at the box office compared to other Disney film releases in the 90s. So on a $100 million budget, it grossed $169.3 million.
And we contributed to that.
We sure did.
Can we just step back and say $100 million
For an
budget?
animated
All right,
movie.
Dr. Evil.
For
$100 million.
Can we do that movie?
Oh, God.
Because that movie came out around the same time.
Well, and we've talked about
I
that.
saw that not too long ago.
You watched it with
is it-
David, didn't you?
Yeah, and it
I
does.
can't say anything. My dad made let us watch it.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
yeah,
it's-
I saw it in the
it's
theaters
not-
with my parents.
Yeah, it's not. Austin Powers. It has
We
some
shouldn't have been
humor.
watching it when we did, but
Yeah, but I can safely say that none of the jokes that are really dirty, he didn't get any of them. I mean, they do a good job of putting most of the dirty jokes in a way that kids just sort of, oh, someone's doing something silly.
no, because I've mentioned it
Yeah.
before on
So-
other episodes where I was like, "Oh, does that make you Randy?" And I was like a little 9-year-old, and a teacher was like, "No, Darth, you can't say that."
Right, yeah.
So
I mean, he doesn't know what a lot of vagina, that doesn't.
So in like 20 years, he's going to be on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be like, Dad.
he's going to
What
be
the-
taking on our legacy.
What the hell were you now? No, it's
It's not going to last that long.
No, he'll go on to better and brighter things.
Hopefully, God, because we all know the show is utter crap.
Yeah, hopefully he'll do better in school than his old man did.
Oh.
No,
Wah, wah.
yeah. Oh, I have that. There we go.
But here we go. We're coming up on the diner scene, which you mentioned, Jason.
The big boy.
Yes, I love that they played on the big boy. And I love that there's a sign
I
that
know,
specifically
specifically for
forbids llamas, not dogs, not cats, nothing, just llamas.
See, that's why the comedy in it is so good, because it's like it's almost like the old Bob Hope movies,
A little
like
bit, yeah.
the Road 2 movies. That's
see
sort of how the comedy feels, with a little bit of healthy cartoon comedy in it.
Oh yeah, and the one joke that I can even think of in this movie is said by the waitress in the diner, where they have to dress Cusco up because llamas aren't allowed. So he's posing as Pacha's wife, and they say they're on their honeymoon, and the waitress is like, "Oh, bless you both for coming out in public," like, and that's the only thing that's even like mildly inappropriate.
Yeah, and you can actually take that two ways.
Yeah, you could.
Where it's like it's either
They're busy having sex on the
Yeah, it's
honeymoon.
like-
You
I
don't
thought
want
it
to come
was
out in
because he
public.
was
because he's ugly. Yeah, that's how I took it.
That's how I took it too. And I was like, wait, what is
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I think it's the sex thing.
Yeah,
but,
thank you for taking time off from your busy sex
Shagging schedule.
to- yeah. I've never been to South America, but I don't know that they have these insects there.
Pill bugs.
It's very it looks
Roly-poly.
Lion King
Yeah,
though.
and if they do, I'm never going to South America.
South America has some of the craziest bugs. Like
Yeah.
that's where we've been discovering new species. Actually, so I wouldn't put it past South America.
Well,
to have
there's
this
a great
roly-poly.
there's a great Top Gear.
And then you got this guy who gives him the thumbs up.
Yeah. There's a great Top Gear where they do a South American adventure, and at one point Clarkson reads from a book about all of the animals in South America that Mr. Sting didn't tell you about.
Yep.
Including
lot of them.
including ones that like to, the fly that eats into the your skin
And lays eggs
and lays its
in your body.
eggs.
Yep.
And the poor BBC guy who was kept awake for several nights by the sound of the bugs trying to. Yes, yeah. No, I don't want to go.
No, I would imagine not.
Don't want to go.
But Katie, like you just pointed out, the guy in the diner who gives Pacha a thumbs up over Cusco, and Cusco's ugly as a woman. It made me
Well, that
think
guy
back.
has no teeth, so great judge of character.
Hey, well, it reminds me of the bus driver on Mrs. Doubtfire who kept checking out Robin Williams and was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I like those Mediterranean women with the hair on their legs or whatever it was."
Or the bus driver in Hocus Pocus.
Who was super into all three of the witches.
Mostly Sarah Jessica Parker.
she's the
though,
one
which
who
we
sat
all
on his
agreed
lap.
that he was.
Yeah.
She was the hottest.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the hottest she's looked, I think, is what you said, Jason.
Well, and also too, it's not like she had a lot of competition.
yeah, with the
Yeah.
other two witches, that's
Right,
true.
Bette Midler
Syriabos.
and
That lady whose name we can never
No,
figure
but
out.
but the funny thing is, my wife, I told her that joke, and she knew who that person was. She was like, "Oh yeah, she's done all kinds of stuff. She's like apparently she does
Something
all sorts."
Najimy. I don't remember.
Yeah,
her first name. Holly
Najimy.
Najimy.
Yeah, because I think she's done like Broadway and stuff like that. So she,
Oh, so certain people know exactly
Yeah,
who she
certain
is.
people know exactly who she is.
Got it.
But anyway, back to this
Oh,
movie.
this awesome bit with Kronk taking over as the chef.
It's the best.
And all he's doing, because Kuzco's the one who's in
He
there
wants to be a chef.
critiquing the chef. He's like, listen, is there anything edible on this menu? And the chef is on his last nerve, but then Kronk was like, hey, buddy, I've got a special order for you. And he's just asking politely for something, but the chef gets pissed and packs up like all his pots and pans and stuff in a suitcase and leaves.
When he throws the stew, he just pours it in
Like
and
the
puts
whole
the
thing,
pot
yeah.
on top.
Well, and in this scene, they do like 3 different classic bits. They do the one character goes in the door while the other
While the
character
other-
comes out bit. They do the guy reaching down to grab something and the person hiding just hands it to him.
Yep.
You know, and it's great because they're tried and true great old comedy routines, but they make them work.
They do.
You know?
The only thing that could possibly be questionable in this is the fact that Kronk somehow doesn't recognize that Yzma and Kuzco's voices keep changing.
Well, you know, it's an Abbott and Costello thing.
No, it totally.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to suspension of disbelief. I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
But with Eartha Kitt specifically, with that distinctive voice of hers, you would think that he'd at least register that it was different, even if he didn't recognize
For
Kuzco's
some
voice.
reason, I keep wanting to do Tina Turner jokes, and I keep having to tell myself that she didn't say nice and easy.
No.
Yes, that was Tina Turner, not Eartha Kitt.
Yeah. We're gonna go rough.
Yeah, I never
Gonna
do
go
anything
easy and then
nice
rough.
and easy.
Yeah. God, have you seen John Krasinski's lip sync battle as Tina Turner?
No,
Oh, listeners,
Oh.
I will put it in the show notes. The link to that video is priceless.
see now she's saying it.
I am.
Yeah.
I know. You've trained me well. Good job. But yeah, so Pacha actually finds out in the restaurant, but the serious thing that happens is that he's a booth over from
Kronk and
Kronk
Yzma.
and Yzma, and he overhears them saying, oh, we should have killed Kuzco when we had the chance. And he's trying desperately to help Kuzco escape. But Kuzco doesn't believe. Kuzco still has it in his head that Yzma is a good person.
Yeah,
And that Pacha is the one that kidnapped him and turned him into a
yeah.
llama.
He's a complete idiot.
Yeah.
He thinks
Yeah.
everybody loves him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and he has a It's a Wonderful Life moment where he actually turns Pacha away and he's like, you know what? You never cared about me. Yeah, you just want your stupid hilltop. And it's like, that's his family home. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course he wants it. But then Kuzco runs up on Yzma and Kronk, literally saying, God, we should freaking Kuzco. We have to kill him as soon as we find him. Yeah, nobody really seems to miss him. Like, and it just crushes his little.
I just
His
love
little
that she has a
spirit.
sombrero on.
Oh, and
It's-
because Pacha brilliantly distracts and says, "Oh, it's her birthday over there," so the staff comes over to sing happy birthday
Yeah.
to her.
Everything is llamas here. Like
Yeah.
the
It's a
little
very-
to-go contain's a llama. There's a llama on the door.
It's a
at
very
Pacha's house.
llama-centric economy.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, even Pacha's little shawl thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not made from llama for its wool from an alpaca, but the
Yeah.
similar enough animal.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
But yeah, now Kuzco's all alone.
Yeah.
All by
And then he gets to
He
have,
always says that'd be a great duet.
Oh God.
I get it.
But
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. But yeah, so now Kuzco is just wandering around.
How
and
do you do a number? I've never gotten that song. One is the loneliest
number
number
that you'll ever do. Two can be as sad as one is the loneliest number since the number one. Yeah.
I don't know how you do a number. Unless it's
you exist as that number.
unless it's referring to something obscene. Then
Well,
I
that
yeah.
happens on dating apps, from what I've heard from a different podcast. Apparently, no, seriously, like in other countries, as opposed to asking somebody if they're a top or a bottom, you ask if they're a 1 or a 0.
Oh, so they use the metric system.
It's a real thing, I'm telling you. But back to the movie.
Damn, those guys are good.
I'm telling you. Learn interesting things listening to podcasts. But yeah, so we see Kuzco kind of catches up with his own character, where the entire time David Spade is narrating, saying that he's the hero of the story and he's the victim, and oh my God, these people treated me so badly. But llama version of him is like, come on, buddy, who are you kidding? The audience saw the whole thing. They know that I'm the bad guy, and he's just he's like quietly weeping in the rain.
He's breaking the fourth wall.
That never happened.
Yeah. Sorry.
This fantastic Sherlockian moment that Kronk has in the woods, where he's sleeping under this teeny tiny little tent that only covers like his knees.
But he has a teddy bear too.
He does.
And with the same hat he has.
And Yzma's living in like a tent the size of a double wide. But at first, Kronk is like, "Oh, that villager, because in the restaurant, we didn't mention this, Kronk recognizes Pacha, because he does see him when he's got Kuzco on his little wagon, and he sees Pacha walking away with him, but it doesn't occur to Kronk right away. He's like, hey, buddy, didn't we play on this team together in high school? Or did we take these classes together? He's like, come on, you got to help me out. But then he remembers him in dead sleep. He's like, oh, that villager at the restaurant. He didn't pay his check. But then he has this like sharp moment where he was like, that's the guy who actually took Kuzco in the wagon. Blah, blah, blah. Like, he has a clarifying moment where he knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they don't make Kuzco suffer for very long, where he's wandering by himself in the jungle.
Well, it's a short movie.
It is.
It is
That's
very
true.
short.
It's a
movie.
very short movie. It's what 75 minutes or something like that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I just remember I was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, it's shorter than an episode of our show, so that's
You know what? That's accurate.
Yeah.
As the person who writes the show notes and listens to these episodes
Aw.
over and over and
Just
over.
all the llamas don't like him either.
He's rejected by the other
Because they're
llamas.
alpacas.
Oh, those are alpacas?
No, I
No.
have no idea.
Well, they all look alike.
Don't you know the difference? Oh, racist.
I guess.
But Kuzco attempts to
Why
eat
it got to be a llama?
What's the difference?
Anyhow. But once again, Pacha pulls through for Kuzco. Pacha is the good-hearted antagonist who eventually brings about the change in Kuzco, the sucky protagonist, really.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does change in the end, but
It takes longer than you would expect.
yeah, and he's basically a complete dick until he isn't.
Yeah, exactly. He has that one little redeeming moment where he does save Pacha's life, but it's a reflex. It's not even really
Right, yeah.
a conscious decision that he makes. But Pacha's sitting there like, oh, I knew there was good in you. And he goes, nuh-uh. It was, I just reacted. That one time, don't worry. And he's
Which is weird. It's like he doesn't want to be, like... Yeah.
It's you would think that
Yeah.
he would just roll with it because he already thinks he's a good person. Like, he has no issues with his personality whatsoever.
Yeah,
But then when Pacha starts to bring it to his attention, no, you're a total dick.
yeah,
He's like, oh, okay, well, I guess so. And he's just a little confused about it. But yeah, so they have literally run across country at least 7 times at this point in the movie.
yeah. Which for a man of John Goodman's stature,
Yeah.
it is kind of impressive to think of those little legs moving that body up and down those mountains.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They even bring attention to that when they're trying to climb back up that ravine or whatever. He's like, it's a good thing you're not a huge fat guy or else this would be really difficult.
Yeah,
So I looked up the difference between llamas and alpacas.
Oh, do
and it's
tell. I'm
actually
on the
really
edge of my
funny. Be that the scene that just happened where the llamas don't want to have anything to do with them.
yeah.
Apparently one of the differences is their dispositions. Alpacas are very much herd animals, while llamas are more independent. So
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. They were alpacas, and he's a llama.
Well, there you
So
go.
they don't-
So they were racist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Discrimination.
and then it's just generally just how they look. Their
Yeah.
face, their ears, their fur is different. It's
They have wings, a horn.
What do you do to make an animal mythological? Add wings to it.
Well, it's true.
or a horn.
Yeah, or a horn.
No, it's stole that from Dimitri Martin. So credit where credit is due.
Okay.
But yeah, so Kronk he's just this big kid.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Well, he's
Yeah.
closer to their age than it is Yzma's. They say he's like 20 something, and
Yeah.
he makes references like, "You've been with us many, many, many decades."
Yeah, and they keep bringing attention to the fact that Yzma, is incredibly old.
Well, I mean, her face is
Scary beyond
basically a
all reason.
skull,
Yeah.
There's the scene where Kronk wakes her up and she's got the
The face mask
Yeah, the
and the
face mask.
cucumbers.
Yeah.
Cucumbers and
it's genuinely horrifying because I guess she puts a nose on because in that scene there's
He's Voldemort.
yeah, I mean it's full on Skeletor.
you ninny. It's very fitting considering Yzma is insulting Kronk all the time. And apparently, like, her wardrobe was very specific. The animators put her in purple because it's a color that's associated with madness. And she's straight up crazy.
That's interesting because I always think of purple
regal.
as royalty. Of course,
Yeah.
in Japan it means death. It's
Oh.
the color of death. Yeah,
Well, maybe that's an even better
Yeah.
thing because she's so old. So
yeah.
even the little boy, Tipo, I think is his name. He's like, you don't look like my aunt. You look like my great. And he goes on for like 30 seconds.
Etc.
Yeah. Great aunt. Oh, and our part about the door, Jason, we've mentioned this before. So the mom gets wind of the fact that Pacha and Kuzco need to get away, and so they're holding up Kronk and Yzma at the house, who posed as Pacha's relatives.
Yeah.
And the mom has locked them in a closet, and Yzma's like, all right, Kronk, break the door down. And he's like, are you kidding me? This is hand-carved mahogany. And we missed his bit with the squirrel too. We glossed right over that because the reason why they get kind of track of Cusco in the jungle is because of the same squirrel that Cusco was mean to. Yzma screams at it and it runs away, but then it makes friends with Kronk. He's like, oh, and she's like, are you talking to a squirrel? And he goes, oh, well, I used to be a chipmunk scout or something. And
Which comes back.
it does.
There's actually payoff on that bit.
There's payoff on that and the cliff climbing.
Yeah.
They both circle back, but
Well, that's one thing about the movie that is kind of sweet is that the bad guy doesn't get thrown off a cliff and eaten by hyenas.
yeah. Are you thinking of a specific
Yeah,
story?
well, I mean, it's like, let's go through how Disney villains have died.
Yeah.
He doesn't get thrown off of a church into, flames that are very, very, hell-like.
Yeah.
The bad guy turns into a cat and stays a cat
And becomes a chipmunk
and
scout.
becomes a chipmunk scout.
Yeah.
Squeaker.
Yeah.
Squeaking.
Squeak, 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 squeaker, squeaking. And I love this bit where Yzma and Kronk do catch up to Cusco and Pacha eventually, but they're running through the jungle and you see the little dotted lines that they're leaving on the map behind them.
Yeah, it's very Warner Brothers.
It's so Indiana Jones, like
Yeah.
when Indy would be flying anywhere and you'd
Yeah.
see the actual map underneath his plane.
Yeah.
They did a bit about that on Family Guy where Stewie and Brian are in a hot air balloon and they look down and it's a map like it would be on Indiana Jones and they're like, wow, I never thought it would really look like that.
Well, it's those are bits that, Bugs Bunny would have done,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
which, it's not really very
Wait,
Disney.
it has wings. Is it mythological?
It is.
Her tent is a mythological animal because it has wings.
And then Zeus struck it
Strike.
down with a bolt of lightning.
Well, and that's funny you say that, Jason, because remember when we did Hercules, I said how much the colors in the animation reminded me of Emperor's New Groove because of all the vibrant purples
I can see
and
it.
tones, but it was the same kind of. I mean, I know Hercules came out before this movie, but still, they remind me of each other because of all the similar colors.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what movie was Hercules the very. I think that was the one that came out right before this one. Was
Hercules came out.
In '97, I want to
yeah.
say.
Oh, it was 97. What
Yeah.
was? I wonder what was between Hercules and this, because this was what 2000.
No idea. Yeah,
Yes.
this was 2000.
All right.
But and of course we got to give our tip of the hat to the Wizard of Oz bit where Cusco and Pacha get to Yzma's cabinet of potions and they find a potion for lions.
Yeah.
And then one for tigers and then bears. Oh my.
Wait, that's not Wizard of Oz. That's Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
That's Wizard of Oz. That's
That
what
is
they're
Wizard of Oz
saying before
hardcore.
they meet the lion.
Because
Oh, but I
before they
thought-
meet the cowardly lion, they're like, "Oh, this forest is riddled with creatures, Dorothy. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my. That is
my.
classic Wizard
okay,
of Oz.
All right. You
my-
and your Jello horse. You got a thing for that.
Psychedelic Jello horse.
Yes.
Hey, it's my dad's favorite movie. I grew up knowing everything about that movie.
Well,
'cause his favorite.
it's a good favorite movie.
It is.
You know.
But yeah, so they did that Wizard of Oz bit, and that was cute. And what's funny to me is that Yzma knows for a fact at this point that Kronk screwed up the first round of killing Cusco.
Yeah.
Yet she relies on him again to finish the job. She hands him a dagger, and they sort of allude to how ugly and old and mean she is again because she's pulling up her dress. Like, I bet you weren't expecting this. And they're like,
so
oh,
Warner
God.
Brothers.
Oh, God. And then it's a dagger that she's pulling
Yeah,
out. And they're
yeah.
like, oh, okay, then. We're all right with that. So,
Where she realizes that she done messed up by letting Kronk do it.
yeah.
They just see him talking to his little
Yeah.
shoulder angel and devil, and but they can't see the
Yeah, the
angel
other
and devil.
characters can't see it, so he's just sitting there talking to himself.
and them fighting words about his cream puffs,
Spinach
spinach puffs.
I never
Never
liked
liked
your
them.
spinach puffs.
Never. They all look really hurt.
So if you could have an angel and devil, celebrity, small angel and devil.
Ooh.
I know I shouldn't have thrown this one on you. Spur of the moment. This one deserves thought, I will admit.
It does. I want to go with Tom Hanks is like a knee-jerk reaction for the angel.
I could see
Mr.
that.
Rogers,
Yeah, Mr.
which
Rogers.
comes out
Steve Irwin
this week.
as the angel.
No, I'd want Chuck Norris
As the angel?
as the angel.
Okay.
Because he'd tell you to do the right thing or else.
You know, there would be consequences.
You know,
It's a very realistic angel because,
you can choose not to do the right thing.
but you know,
You're going to regret it, though.
yeah, I'd have to say probably Tom Hanks as my angel.
And you don't want a devil that's like too good, because then you're just screwed, because you're always going to be doing that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like,
Or too
or do
convincing.
you?
well,
Depends on the kind of person you are.
I suppose.
Honestly, I might have to go with Eartha Kitt for my devil. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd
Tom
be pretty
Hanks and
good.
Eartha Kitt talking to you on your shoulders.
Is that my voice?
Is that my voice? Oh, and this.
I'd go for Mr. Hans Gruber himself.
Hans
Alan.
Gruber,
Alan.
Alan
I'd go for
Gruber.
Alan Rickman
As the devil?
Actually, Alan Rickman could be both.
Well, he was an angel in Dogma.
That's
so
true.
It's very, yeah. He
Another
was,
movie
Yeah.
my father should probably not have let us watch.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that one. I go. Well, Dogma. I think was the tamerest.
That was
of
one of the tamer Kevin Smith
of the
movies,
Kevin
yeah.
Smith movies.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, it was no Clerks. There was no talk of oh crap,
Snowballing.
snowballing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
37
37.
in a row?
He looks like his little
It's a joke
parrot
that
that he
never
turned
goes
into.
away.
He looks
No.
like Iago.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do love that bit where Pacha and Cusco are running away, and that now all the vials are no longer labeled, so they're having to try each vial to get him back to normal.
Yeah, it's wacky
Don't say
hijinks
it.
time.
Yeah, it's the animators playing around with what
Yeah,
animals they
yeah.
can turn him into. But the guards run after them, and they all get transformed to animals too when the cabinet crashes.
Yeah.
And one of them's like, "I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home?"
Yeah,
You're
llama.
excused.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is like, she's like, "Anyone else want to go home?" No, we're good. And one of them's like an octopus, another's an
Yeah,
ostrich.
the
Like, it's-
octopus is the best.
No,
Yeah.
oh, he's great with all his different weapons
Yeah.
in his hands,
Well, he looks terrifying coming down when you just see the shadow. You just see all these arms.
Yeah.
waving all those sharp axes.
Quickly, what is the plural of octopus?
Octopodes.
Bingo. Thank you. You're the first person who's gotten that.
This is why we're partners.
Yes. All right.
Reasons like this. I actually was thinking about that earlier
Is
today.
that really true?
It's
It is.
It's
it
one
is
of
an
the.
yeah.
It's one of the options of plural for octopus. Yes,
What is-
octopuses is the more common
Yes.
one, but octopodes is also a legit.
Octopi was never an option.
Octopi is Latin,
Mm-hmm.
and octopus is a Greek word. So the plural correctly should be octopodes.
Yeah, back when
Yeah.
I was a bank teller, my
Oh wait,
oh here it is. She turns into the cat.
meow.
She's a cute cat.
She
She's
is.
adorable.
She's adorable.
She's got the purple eyes.
Imagine having an Eartha Kitt
And then
cat
she's not.
in your house.
Oh God, I would
like-
My
love
cat
that.
talks enough as it is.
Yeah, constantly trying to kill you.
Yes,
So
every
like
cat.
a cat. Yeah.
throwing glasses off of
Yeah.
surfaces. Oh wait, so yeah, just a cat.
No, what were you gonna say? You were a bank teller.
The
and-
reason why, when I was a bank teller, I discovered the plural to octopodes because my head bank teller was from Mexico. Jeanette, shout out to you.
Is that my voice? Is that my voice?
And she and I would practice our Spanish together, but she also asked me, since I was an English major, to teach her a new English word that she wouldn't know, just out of context
I
every
would have
day.
just made shit up every day.
No,
I would
I
have
actually
I would
liked
have
and
taught her.
respected this
I would
woman.
have taught her a new word every day that just didn't.
No, but it's not that she didn't know the word octopus, but she didn't know the plural was octopodes, or at least that was one of the options. So
Apparently,
I did teach her
I
that.
don't either.
That's okay. You learn something
Few
new.
do. I didn't know until I looked it up.
We're a
'cause I-
couple of weirdos.
yeah.
We know strange stuff.
They said it's
Here's-
octopi is an acceptable choice.
It is acceptable.
It is.
It is
But you run
acceptable.
the risk of being informed that it's incorrect.
Yes.
Yes, see?
And it said the Greek.
there you
Yes.
I still haven't seen the other one.
go. Oh, but here's the ultimate test. I'm laughing even though I can't hear Yzma
Octopodes.
screaming. She's just freaking out as she falls. Like, how big is this palace? It's like 4,000 feet tall.
Yeah. Well, the palace itself is utterly ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But I mean, look, those guys built some pretty impressive.
How is
pieces
he
of-
gripping
pyramids and
him?
stuff.
Okay, he's got
John
cloven
Goodman
hooves.
has.
Because
He grabs his hand and
llamas are very good at
Disney
grabbing.
magic. He
Yes.
has Disney magic.
Llamas. You throw a
how is-
next time you're around a llama, throw a baseball at it. Watch what happens.
He's gonna spit at you.
Oh, my God. I love that we're watching a movie where a man gets transformed into a llama, and your big question is why he's able to grip somebody with his hooves. But, okay, so, yeah.
So Warner Brothers.
The ultimate test of Cusco's conscience comes along when the last vial, and it's the only vial left that can turn him into a human, and he's got to get it before Yzma does, and it's about to fall off the edge, but so is Pacha. So Cusco's got to choose if he wants to stay a llama forever, if he wants to save Pacha, and he
Yeah.
saves him. So that's his big character turnaround right there.
I don't know. I mean, I think to be fair, if you were still king and you were a llama,
No big deal.
I
People would
could
cater
deal.
to that.
Yeah, I could deal. You
I'd
know,
get over it.
I mean, you'd have to do some like hair waxing.
And ultimately, so we do the callback to
Of course, then you'd
the
be a
climb.
hairless llama.
That team.
It looked like Dr. Evil's
Yeah,
cat,
that would. Yeah,
which would be
Mr.
weird.
Bigglesworth.
Yes.
Mr. Bigglesworth, yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't he bald? Like the
Yes.
cryo
He was
freeze
a,
did
he was a
not
Sphinx
work.
cat.
Didn't work for
That's
him.
why he killed Will Ferrell.
No. Will Ferrell, he just killed in the beginning of the movie. I'm very badly burned.
Oh, I thought that's why he killed him, was because we didn't understand the effects on feline DNA.
Oh, maybe it was
Yes.
then. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm remembering it correctly. But yeah, we get the call back to the climbing, the buddy climbing, and then, that's how they get the vial back from Yzma. And ultimately, it's Kronk who saves the day.
Yeah.
By being Kronk.
By
Who
being
knew the store
Kronk.
would
Yeah.
lead to here?
Yeah, he just opens this porthole style door, which you always have in rock structures.
Oh yeah.
Like you do, and he smashes Yzma so that Kuzco can
Look,
grab the
because
vial.
if you got that kind of money, if you're a dude and you have that kind of money, you're putting hatches and shit in places. That's just a given.
Of course you are.
I mean, I was the other day, I just wanted to see if I wanted to put like a bunker door in my basement. How would I go? Like,
so Scooby-Doo.
can you do that? And you'd be surprised. It's actually pretty difficult.
Easy, Kimmy. Nobody wants
yeah.
to spend their life in the bunker.
You can get a bunker door for $7,000. I found that, but I don't think I'll get that one approved.
Learning
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning lots.
If you couldn't get the lanterns from Shivers, I sincerely doubt Elaine is going to let you have a bunker door.
I'm working on it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for the bunker door, but I'm going to settle for the secret bookshelf door.
Ooh, shoot for the moon, land in the
Yeah,
stars.
yeah,
we
yeah.
won't tell Elaine. Listeners, don't tell Jason's wife. But yes, after all the vile trial and error, I made me.
I'm done.
Wah, wah.
I'm done.
No, but we are coming to a close on the movie. I don't care. I made me laugh. That one doesn't even fit.
That's
But
what she said. Anyway,
sweet Jesus.
this is why this needs to be recorded in video.
Despite that remark, the movie does have a rather wholesome a bag of blueberries.
The movie does has a point.
And what's sad is I'm drinking coffee.
Judicial system.
Hurt me. Who did you say says you sound drunk no matter?
I think that's a Bill Cosby joke.
Is it
Yeah,
judicial system?
you can't say judicial system without sounding drunk.
Anyway. But yeah, the movie does have a very
Squeaker,
wholesome
squeak,
ending.
Squeak, squeaking.
Yeah, Kronk is the troop leader for the chipmunks
Yeah.
that teaches them all to speak squirrel. My acorn is missing. Did you steal the acorn? You owe me a new acorn.
Give me back
Oh,
my.
and what's next? SpongeBob.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God.
On that note,
Actually,
I'll
my
pause that.
son.
Hey Jason, which one's worse, SpongeBob or Halloweentown?
Oh man, that is tough. Because with SpongeBob, it goes forever and ever and ever and ever.
Halloweentown has
it-
several sequels.
Oh, that's
It
true. It
does.
does.
and
I think.
SpongeBob's give you some kind of good memes sometimes.
I think I'd have to say Halloweentown is still worse.
Oh, poor Michelle.
Yeah. No,
Hey, I'm just happy Clueless is out of the running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the original. That was the movie the guy
Oh,
hated on.
I don't actually dislike Clueless. That's that's just movie match. That's me being in character.
Yeah,
Because it's not like Halloweentown has Alicia Silverstone running
In the
around. Yeah,
spandex.
exactly. Yeah, I mean they could have improved it. Halloweentown Redux. Let me do the special edition.
Jesus.
I'll make it the best movie ever made.
I could see
Is
it.
it?
Because
Because Halloweentown Triple X.
No, I'll just overdub them going, hey, do you remember that time we found the Lost Ark of the Covenant, and then just cut in all of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
God. So now we're remaking Halloweentown and Alf.
Yes.
Because you said you wanted to be in
Oh,
charge
I'd love
since
to.
Alf
Oh
is
my
coming
god,
back out.
I would absolutely love to be the person in charge of remaking Alf.
And speaking of Alf,
It would be the most terrifying thing you've ever seen.
no, I'm saying we have to go with my pitch from Shivers,
It'd
where
be
he
like
drives
Predator.
drunk, kills somebody.
It'd be Predator living in the house. Predator.
Scanning people.
Like he's
What
constantly pointing his gun at the cat.
Where's my pet cat? I ate the cat. He ate the cat. But yeah, so the movie does have a wholesome ending.
Who is driving car? Bear is driving car.
Oh my god, how can that be? But not just Kronk and Yzma, but Kuzco, changes his mind, like we said, doesn't do Kuzcotopia, builds himself a nice little
Summer home.
summer cottage right
Thank you,
next
Sting.
to right next to Podge. Yeah, thanks Sting for altering that ending
Yeah.
so abruptly. But yeah, so
I'll
that's the
be
end of the
watching
movie.
you.
Hey, they're walking through fields of gold.
Yeah.
Leave them alone.
Gordon.
So anyhow, that all being said, we didn't get Katie's answers on who would be her angel and her devil on her shoulders. Do you have an answer for us, Katie?
Or would you like to? You don't have to answer now.
We can always come back later and answer
yeah.
these. We can think about it more thoroughly. But a simpler question to answer is, where does this movie rank on Elf to Seinfeld for our guest host?
I would say 4.
Okay.
So it got worse as you got older.
It did. I mean, there are some parts, again, like Eartha Kitt's cat voice was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, there was nothing that I was like, oh, I can't believe, like, there was no really hidden, like, humor that for, like, the parents.
Well, and there's
that's what I think of.
And there is that sort of emotion when you watch a movie that you loved as a kid and you find yourself checking your phone a lot more than you thought you would, and kind of going, how long was this movie? Yeah,
it was shorter than I remember.
Yeah,
so that was nice.
It's a very short movie.
And the actors again are great.
Yeah,
they fit these roles perfectly.
Well, see, then for me, it's a bit of the opposite spectrum. It actually got a little bit better. Like you said, it's not really the jokes that turned it around for me because, being 12 when we saw it, and the humor wasn't very adult, like you said, Katie. So the jokes didn't really change for me, but appreciation for the voice actors did.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize who, all the extra. I didn't know who Patrick Warburton was.
You didn't know who Eartha Kitt was.
I didn't know who Eartha
exactly,
Kitt was,
yeah,
but no, now I appreciate the characters so much more. So I'm gonna give it a
nice, Cindy. Yeah,
Tina Turner.
I know, but now it's stuck in my head.
God, I'll send you that link because it's a really funny video, and I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.
See, I can't. I have to abstain this.
Because you didn't see this movie as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't see it as a kid.
I don't know. I ranked Shivers despite the fact that I didn't see that until I was a grown up.
What did you rank it? -3?
Remember, that was my Alf pitch. He gets drunk, commits vehicular homicide, and then spends his life in prison getting prison raped. Okay. So that was how I felt about Shivers. You didn't listen to that episode?
I did listen to that episode. I do not remember that.
No, I specifically said about that.
She didn't care for the movie.
It wasn't my favorite movie. It was, however, my least favorite movie.
Oh, and I will say, I think my shoulder angel and devil will be Marshall and Barney from How I Met Your Mother. I think those would be great.
But who's the angel and who's the devil?
Marshall is the angel and Barney is the devil, because always.
I don't know. I could see Marshall snapping.
I could see him snap, but he still was like, he was always, that
He's
was what he was for Ted.
I think
Barney was always encouraging to suit up and go lick the Liberty Bell. And Marshall was always like, no, don't do that. Well, he was like, going to the Liberty Bell, like singing in his car. I watched that episode recently.
I'm definitely going to go with Alan Rickman for the devil and Robin Williams for the angel.
You're going to get so worn out.
Well, that is true. After about, oh my God.
That's going to be exhausting.
Rickman, I'm on it.
Because Rickman
and the genie.
That's like a Heath Ledger combo of like super high energy and like
nothing.
very mellow,
very mellow energy.
Yeah, that's an upper and a downer on each shoulder. That's crazy.
Well, and
I'm sticking with Tom Hanks and Eartha Kitt for sure.
All right. Well, on that bombshell, these are the things that people tune in to hear.
Oh, hell yes.
Who would your angel and devil be?
Hey, this is what we pepper our episodes with.
Tell us.
And social mediums.
On social medias, which there are accounts of us.
On Instagram, yes. You can find us at Hindsight is Horrifying. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at Hindsight Horror.
And we will, as soon as we figure out when we're going to do our next variant party, we will let the fans know. So
we'll put the word out there for you guys.
So you guys can come and meet us.
We had to make sure that our guests weren't going to murder each other in the first party, because you never know.
Imagine if the troll showed up.
We had jalapeno poppers and cookies.
Yes, we did have poppers. Yes.
And a puppy.
And Adam and Jason woke up a week later, sans livers.
Yes, there was a dog. There were poppers. It was just like college.
It got wild. So yeah, if the troll shows up, I guess I'm host. But
we'll bring milk.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to keep our eyes out for like a really short balding man with a trench coat and obviously nothing on underneath it,
and a dish towel that's inexplicably starchy. So listeners, thank you as always for joining us after I'm just completely disgusted everyone. Thank you so much. That was great, and you know it.
They loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I'm so glad. So, Katie, once again, one of our reigning champions of appearances. Thank Thank you so much for joining us again in the studio. It's always a joy having you here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hindsiders, we appreciate you joining us for your drive time, your listening time of any sort. This has been Darth Jader, and this is Hindsight and Good Night.
Good night.